Hi, this is the Bitcoin Morning Brief. We're on Jimmy, Tone, and I am happy today and happy Friday. So, Jimmy, how's it going?
It is good. It's a little bit early, and you can see how dark it is behind me because I'm in Austin, Texas, and it's like one of the darkest days of the year today. But very happy about where we are, and I submitted my book, so I'm happy about that as well.
Beautiful.
Congrats. Yeah, I'm very pre-coffee, as I'm sure the live chat is probably making fun of. So good thing I'm not looking at it today. Tone, everybody is loving your hair and lack thereof, haircut, I should say. I will always love Jimmy's comment of you looking more alpha. That was awesome. How's it going?
Oh, doing great. I had a crazy long day yesterday. I had two of my own live streams, plus I did about 4 podcasts for other people. They were all recorded. I gotta go into a studio in New York. Everyone wants like year-end predictions, so I'm in high demand right now. I'm sure Jimmy is as well. You should be. You should be too.
So,
you should be too.
I do work prior to contrary. I can't even talk. So let me host so that I switch everything your direction. The brilliant man's truth. Answer is yes, I'm busy. Okay. So our first story: executives at Korean crypto exchange UpBit indicted for fraud. Pretty much exactly what the title says. Jimmy, what's happened with UpBit?
Well, so we've known for a while that exchanges have all this fake volume where they do like wash trades and like make it look like there's a lot more activity than there is. This is the first time that I've heard of where somebody was arrested for it. It looks like they were using a fake corporate account to make a lot of trades and make it seem like there was a lot more volume on this exchange than there actually was. And if this is like a pattern, I can't imagine there. I mean, like there's so many exchanges that have been rumored to be doing stuff like this, where they fake volumes and stuff. Famously, a lot of the Chinese exchanges were doing this. I think a lot of them have moved over to Korea because China banned a lot of them. I can't imagine like more instances of things like this not happening if this is the case. It's actually really kind of, I mean, if I'm an executive at like an exchange right now, I'm getting a little bit nervous, right? Like like the last couple of years have been very good where I've made a lot of money, but if there's any evidence of something like this, it can be very it's very possible that I could go to jail or at least have to pay a really heavy fine or something like that. We'll see if Song Chi-hyung, I guess that's the founder, it will actually go to jail. There's a lot of weird things that happen in Korea, including like suicides and stuff like that. Like my dad tells me about that stuff. We'll see if anything like that happens here.
Thanks, Jimmy. Tone, and to Jimmy's point, this is not such new news. We have been covering all these hacks at exchanges a lot. It seems to keep happening, but yes, now it looks like they're actually getting charged and indicted for this fraud. What are your thoughts? Is this anything new under the sun? Will this affect your predictions for 2019?
No, not at all. I've actually never even heard of this exchange, and I'm not surprised that another exchange in crypto got popped for fake volume. My big question is to all that, like, I've been accused of being like a statist throughout most of this year. And that's because I got so sick of all the scammers and all the fraudsters in the crypto space. And I said, well, clearly you guys don't know how to police yourselves. So the regulators are going to come and clean it up, and they're going to go overboard, and they're going to start arresting people, and people are going to start going to jail. So my question is to the libertarians that kept calling me a statist, what do they think about this? Do they think that no one should get involved? Did the market supposed to clean it up? Are they upset that people are now going to prison for manipulating exchange volume? Or, do you still want the regulators to stay completely out of it? And then all of these exchanges are going to keep doing whatever they like. So, like to me, this is not a surprise. And like, I don't really care. I mean, if you're going to run a fraudulent exchange, this is what's going to happen. What bothers me is this is what's going to happen to some of the people that are not running a fraudulent exchange, because the space doesn't want to clean itself up. No one was policing itself. Like this is why I got so frustrated with the whole libertarian view that, oh, it'll clean itself up. Clearly, it doesn't even want to start.
Well, Tone, I think it's fine to like, there will be people that are doing fraudulent things, and if you're doing fraud, you need to be prosecuted for fraud. But that said, I'm still a free market person. If you know, like, as more and more of these are found to be doing things like that, people will get burned, and they will learn an expensive lesson, and they will demand things like transparency around reserves, and, you know, making sure that volumes are not faked and things like that. Yeah, I don't know exactly how you do a lot of that stuff, but those are things that the consumer has to demand, not the government. I at least that's in my view. Leah looks frozen.
I think we lost her.
Leah?
Did I get
oh yeah,
frozen
there she is.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
No?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Totally lost me?
No, I don't think she can
hear us. Okay.
Totally frozen?
No. We're good now. We're good now.
We're good. We can move on.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
If anything, I can sign back in. Good. Okay, I can't hear you guys, but this will be fun. All right, Facebook is developing a cryptocurrency for WhatsApp transfers, sources say. A little misleading, perhaps. Obviously, they acquired WhatsApp quite a long time ago. And they're saying that their first focus is actually the remittance market in India. So interesting focus. We've covered this too. Jimmy, back to you. What are your thoughts on what Facebook is up to, what WhatsApp is up to?
Yeah, so PayPal president David Marcus, so he went to Facebook back in 2014, and I don't know how many of you guys were around back then, but that was like a really big deal at the time, because a lot of us in Bitcoin were thinking, okay, this guy is going to integrate Bitcoin into the Facebook experience. It turned out that wasn't the direction that they were going in, and he's been there like about 4 years now, and a lot of us have been wondering what the hell's he been doing, because, you know, he comes from PayPal, he's a big fan of Bitcoin, and you know, where like, what's he doing? What's he spending his time doing if not making some sort of like payments platform? Turns out this is what he's been doing. He wants to integrate WhatsApp with something like a stable coin. And I imagine this is because of the success of WeChat in China. If you go to China right now, you can't pay for anything unless you have WeChat. If you try to use cash or something, the vendors actually get mad at you, because they're so like, WeChat is just so convenient for everything. I think that's where Facebook is going with WhatsApp. They want to make it sort of this like very instant transfer, peer-to-peer kind of thing, and you can pay vendors and everything else. I'm not sure how they're going to make money. I guess they can tax transactions in between or something like that. But they want what's interesting about this story is that they want a stable coin. Now, whether or not that's going to be fully backed, or if it's going to be algorithmic, I have a feeling it's not going to be algorithmic. I don't know if we covered this story, but there was an algorithmic stable coin called Basis that had to give all of the money that they raised back to their investors because of all the regulation around it. You know, this looks like it's going to be a you know, they're developing something. They're trying to Facebook is trying to come into more and more of our lives this way. That's my take.
Thanks, Jimmy. And for anyone that's been following the blood in the streets and traditional markets, Facebook has been tanking like the rest of the markets. So definitely, you know, it looks like they're definitely needing a boost on something. Tone, what are your thoughts on this story?
I mean, it's I really hate the concept of this stable coin. I'm gonna plagiarize Josh from Volturo, where he doesn't call them stable coins, he calls them fiat coins, because that's all they are. I mean, it's literally just a representation of the US dollar. So using kind of like, you know, it's kind of like this word blockchain. It doesn't really mean anything. The word stablecoin doesn't mean anything. All it means is dollars in the bank, and we're going to move them from one account to another. There's nothing blockchain on this. I mean, if you stick your stablecoin on top of Ethereum, you're just adding, you know, stupid technological risk to your whole project. This is no different than WeChat. Facebook has a banking license, as far as I know. I could be wrong on that one. So they could hold people's money. That's all it is like people put in their fiat into a bank account controlled by Facebook. I mean, a lot of these tech companies have a banking license. Google, Apple, with Apple Pay and Google Pay. I mean, they have the regulatory compliance to hold on to people's money. And all they're doing is moving that money from one account to another with the WhatsApp app, with the Facebook Messenger, through Facebook, itself. You know, it doesn't matter, right? It's just numbers on a computer screen from one person's account to another. There's nothing crypto here. So calling it a stable coin is just ridiculous. It's just a fiat coin. It's no different than ACH transactions from one bank account to another. This is even simpler because all of it happens inside a single bank, the bank of Facebook, that's going to be holding your money. It's just silly to try and tie this into the crypto space. It's not. It's just a way to get people off of cash, which is great for Bitcoin, because all of these transactions are going to be tracked, and they're not censorship resistant. They don't have any financial properties of Bitcoin's monetary system like gold. It's just fiat, guys. It's just fiat. There's no story here.
Yeah, just wait until Alex Jones gets banned off of this platform because he's receiving too many donations or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and also the hypocrisy regarding Bitcoin in general, because obviously Facebook is under terrible issues right now with privacy concerns. I mean, they're just getting slammed and slammed again with Cambridge Analytica. But actually, to this story really quickly before moving on, they've actually been asking more financial institutions to join Messenger for like a couple months now. I believe they were telling banks to get them to join the platform to share user data information with them to facilitate these services. And even and the Wall Street Journal, I remember reading, was said that the company was talking to financial institutions, but specifically to get that user information, like credit card transfers.
Because that's exactly what we need is for Facebook to know all about all of the transactions that we make and how we spend our money. That's exactly where we want this world to be. Yeah,
I will say
exactly. Sounds like.
I'm gonna add something. Guys, I want to add something. Hold on. I will say this though. So if I was Facebook, right? I mean, the stock already took a little dump. So this probably should have been done about 1.5 years ago when it was like flying high. If I was Facebook, I would actually take like what Amazon did. I thought what Amazon did was stupid by doubling everybody's minimum wage salary. I thought that was going to be a huge hit to their bottom line. Now, what Facebook could have done, they could have also taken a little hit to the bottom line. You know how the whole crypto space is like, oh, you got to be paid for content. You got to be paid for content. Look at Facebook. They're not paying you shit for your content, all that you do. So what Facebook could have done is they could have started some kind of a revenue share with their the top Facebook personalities outside of celebrities, because celebrities kind of already have money. So you write a good algorithm, you start funding people's accounts. Like, instead of waiting for people to fund their own accounts with fiat to move this fiat token around that they're going to create, they can actually take a little hit on their bottom line. They can start funding people's accounts, because remember, they're all centralized. They can do micropayments. So they can kick off this whole initiative of getting everyone to use Facebook dollars. They could have kicked it off by funding some of the more popular Facebook people with some of the money. And then once those people start using it to pay other people, everyone's going to want to get involved. And then people will just, connect it. They'll either send Bitcoin, and they should accept Bitcoin from people and then they just convert it to their dollar accounts. I hope nobody sends them the Bitcoin, or people will just connect their bank accounts or they'll somehow fund these Facebook accounts.
Tone, they tried that back in 2011. It was called Facebook credits, and that went absolutely nowhere. You could like basically fund your account with like a credit card or something like that, and then you could send it to your friends or whatever. And it was, I think, worth like one Facebook credit was equal to about $1. They've tried this. They've had this idea. It just turns out that like people don't want to, do money on Facebook or quite
well,
as much. Although like the affiliate idea is, or like getting paid for view is an interesting idea though.
Well, also, sorry to cut you off, Tone. To your point, Jimmy, also, right, everybody who clicks the link, that you're giving Facebook permission to access your information, they've already currently had access to financial data from customers because of their connections with companies, specifically to sell on the marketplace and all these, to facilitate these services like customer service charts and account management. And this is just like definitely, taking another step, but also the fact that they've been, poaching banks for this. And I think to your point of the stable coins, it's definitely trying to take it that next step. Tone, you were saying something? Sorry to cut you off.
No, I'm good.
All right. Remember, everybody, don't do the opt-in. All right, so Hong Kong stock market regulator reluctant to greenlight Bitmain IPO. Okay, so I mean, it's been shady for a while. We've definitely been covering Bitmain, especially with this bear market and what's happened with the fork. But Jimmy, straight to you. Is the IPO not going through? I mean, what's happening here?
Well, so when Bitmain filed for the IPO, apparently they filed right at the deadline for Q2, so they wouldn't have to like show the Q3 results. And they had made money for the first half of the year. They certainly made money last year. But rumor is that the last quarter or third quarter and certainly the fourth quarter, they've lost a crap ton of money. And on their balance sheet, we know that they have lots and lots of Bitcoin cash, and the entire the regulators, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, they're just sort of like hesitant about like just crypto mining companies in general, and Bitmain in particular. Just there's so many rumors going around about them. The latest big Bitcoin ABC pump, is rumored to be from Bitmain in large part because, they want to IPO and they want to make their financials look as good as possible before the end of the year and make it not look like they've lost so much money on their balance sheet by holding so much Bitcoin ABC. So, I mean, these are all sort of like, they're going all in on Bitcoin Cash last year is coming back to seriously bite them to the point where their IPO is now kind of in jeopardy. And I think, the reluctance of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange to list them, this is Hong Kong, like they allow for almost everything. So, this is an interesting situation, let's just say. I don't know like the odds on whether or not they'll IPO or something, but I will say that I think we'll all be pretty surprised at how much they lost in the last half of the year, given given all of the things that have happened.
Thanks, Jimmy. Tone, thoughts?
This is it. This is Bitmain's exit plan. I don't want to say exit scam because they're not really a scam. So this is their exit strategy. Either they IPO and they cash out their $1 billion, or they pump, and their backup plan is clearly pumping the shit out of the Bcash, so that if they don't IPO, they sell their 1 million Bcash and salvage what they can if they haven't sold it yet. So this is clearly like, we all know that Bcash is functionally worthless, right? So why the hell is it up 150% in the last week? Bitmain is going to exit. Like, I can't believe people are this dumb. that they're not, sticking whoever is pumping this stuff with all of the money. Jimmy, I hope you don't have any more Bcash left. I hope you already got out of all of it. If not, this could be your last chance, because this is it. Either Bitmain IPOs, and then they don't care. Then they're selling that Bcash, they'll crash it to the ground. The IPO is in. Or if they don't IPO, they're still going to sell the Bcash. Either way, they're selling it. So
yeah, I got rid of everything, so I'm good right now. Just
excellent.
Jimmy, last question to you. We've been covering this for a while, just all the different shadiness as this story developed. We were looking into the fact that the accounting was shady, that obviously what they had on the books for Bcash was very shady, that their statements made no sense. But then at the same time, right, they were one of the biggest investors behind Circle. I mean, they're all over the place. And then also it's kind of confusing because they definitely don't really need the liquidity. So something we talked about on the show is maybe investors are a little upset and do want that liquidation event, is something I remember us talking about. Jimmy, my question though is, how do you think that this will affect mining? Will it at all? And just mining in general.
Well, so they haven't produced a good miner in a few years now. The S9 came out a couple of years ago, and that was, of course, their flagship product. But their main engineer, the guy that really designed it, left and went to a competitor, and they're still working on that. I mean, like, from a market condition standpoint, this is probably one of the worst times for them to actually IPO, because we're in a bear market, and there isn't as much enthusiasm. The fact that they're still trying so hard to get into the public markets, I think, shows you what Tone was saying. I think this is their exit. They're really trying to cash out when they can. I mean, like, these are the guys that bought Bitcoin Cash at like $2,000, $3,000. Now, I mean, like, now it's, that's down like, 90% or something like that. I can't imagine that's a good thing for them.
Yeah, hey, Jimmy, just one slight correction. When your company is going down the toilet, there's no such thing as a bad time to go IPO.
As long as you can IPO. Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Well, like, if your company is, if you plan to do great things over the next 10 years, yeah, this would have been a terrible time to go IPO, but not in this case.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know how their IPO would sell, and I don't know how many buyers there would be. That's all.
Well, and also it's interesting, right? Because wasn't Canaan Creative and eBang, their competitors, tried to IPO and they weren't able to? I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, yeah, who knows? All right, we'll be following this one for sure. So, Jimmy sent this one to us today. Bitcoin's mining difficulty drops another 9%, but hash rate picks up. What's going on with this graph? What's up?
Well, so if you look at this chart, these are the biggest negative difficulty adjustments that we've ever had. So difficulty, like, adjustments happen every 2 weeks or every 2016 blocks. And basically, they dynamically adjust for however much hashing power is on the network. So December 3rd, 2018, that was 2 weeks ago. Or more than 2 weeks ago, that was the biggest drop in hash rate that we've seen in the ASIC era. You can see all of the other ones are November 1st, 2011, October 16th, 2011, December 27th, 2012. Those were all pre-ASIC, pre-2013. But December 20th, 2018, that was yesterday. And basically that was another 9.6% drop. You go down the line, you have March 26, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2011, 2010. And then the very last one there you see is November 18, 2018. So the last three difficulty adjustments have brought some significant hash power off the network. And that means that transactions in general are a little bit slower, but mining is getting more rewarding as a result. And the rumor is that a lot of these miners, they don't get to, like, because they're getting such good rates on the electricity, they don't get to just shut off their miners whenever they want to. They have like 6 month to a year contracts. And a lot of those contracts are starting to expire. And soon as they expire, they take out all of the hashing power off the network in order to save money, because, you know, they are prepaid for the power essentially, and they were sort of forced to use it. That said, it does look like you know, like, because it's getting more rewarding and because the price is going up, there's more hashing power sort of coming onto the network. But a lot of these old S9s from the last story, like that Bitmain's been selling for a few years now, not really profitable. Even like some of the Dragon Mint ones, not really profitable, at least if you're getting electricity for like standard rates. You have to get really good rates in order to do that, and power companies don't usually give you those rates unless you sign a very long contract. So you know, it's basically the market is adjusting to price, but it's hash rate is generally a lagging indicator, and it's been lagging for the past few weeks.
Thanks, Jimmy. Tone, thoughts, graph?
No, I mean, no, not really. Jimmy said it well. Look, it's not easy to print money. Well, it's actually easy to print money if you do an ICO or if you're the government, but it's not easy to print Bitcoin, right? It's hard. So if you're going to be a miner and you thought you were smart and you're going to print your own Bitcoin, you learned a valuable lesson. So the efficiency is going to win. You can still mine. You can still go to Venezuela and mine. They have free electricity there. People are going to take the risk to mine Bitcoin, and they will be rewarded for that risk. I'm not worried about this too much. I will say, if you're a shitcoin, or if you're you know, another 256, I mean, if that's the big difficulty drop on Bitcoin, imagine what it is for Bcash and the other Bcash, right? So I mean, they're going to get 51% attacked because that's the play. You can 51% attack Bcash, and you can exit through Bitcoin, and you can start destroying the old coins. I mean, I don't see anything bad coming out of this. I'm perfectly okay with it.
Thanks, Tone. Jimmy, last comments, or back into the weather report?
Yeah, let's go into the weather report, because I think this has been affected to a little bit, to some degree. So let's take a look. Yeah, you can see that there was a giant spike there yesterday, in part because there were a lot of people trying to get in. I suspect a lot of that has to do with price. Whenever price is moving, there's a lot of action in and out of exchanges. And you can see that it all kind of cleared, and then it started spiking again. I suspect that some of this is just like the data feed is bad, and like there was probably a lot more stuff happening. You know, like it's never this like linear. So, you know, there's usually spikes like you see there. But it did clear overnight and so on. Blocks are a little slower because of some of the hash rate being taken off. But since yesterday, since it readjusted, I think we're back on like a 10-minute schedule again. Yeah, this is how Bitcoin's supposed to work. When there's mining power, more mining power coming on, you know, like you get slightly faster blocks. When mining power is being taken off, you get slightly slower blocks. And, you know, there was obviously the hash war and all this other stuff that competed with some of this. So that's where we are. Yeah, so if you want to get in a transaction right now, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more than you would normally, somewhere on the order of 40 to 50 Satoshi per byte. But I've been able to get in transactions for 1 Satoshi per byte without a problem, as long as I am willing to wait a few hours. I would encourage everyone to do the same and go from there.
I have a slightly different view on that. I mean, I just use the average transaction fee that my wallet gives me. And sometimes I've been using like 10 Satoshis per byte, because you know what, even with 10 Satoshis per byte, I'm paying like a 10 to 15 cents per transaction fee. And I really don't mind rewarding the miners that are sticking around through the bear market. So I personally have absolutely no problem paying a 10 to 20 Satoshi per byte transaction fee right now. It still costs me very little, and I'm happy to support the miners that are with us.
You know, that includes Bitmain.
For now, they're gonna go.
Jimmy, moving on, you have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I'm going to pull up link by link. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, so obviously Tone will shill his conference, and I will be speaking there. But this is another conference that both Tone and I will be at. It's the Advancing Bitcoin Conference in London, February 7th and 8th. I will be speaking there. And my topic is going to be on Neutrino, which I think is really exciting. You can actually have real privacy as a light client, and BIP 157, BIP 158 is something that I'm doing a deep dive on right now. I'm trying to make like a testnet wallet and things like that. But that's what I will be speaking on at the Advancing Bitcoin Conference. I also have my seminar there the 9th and 10th of February. So 2 days of the conference and then 2 days for my seminar. Obviously, I will also be doing my seminar in Las Vegas right before Tone's conference. So that's going to be exciting. Those are the next 2 dates, January 24th, 25th, and London, February 9th and 10th. You have about like a week, maybe a little less, to register for the Las Vegas one at the early bird rate. London, you have another couple weeks. I'm pretty much done with the book. If you click on the book link, Leah, at the top there. Oh yeah, you can just go. Oh, actually, just click book. Yeah, I think I might have. Yeah, there you go. So this is my book. I don't know if you guys have seen the cover, but it does have the honey badger, and you can pre-order on Amazon. Basically, it covers a lot of what I cover in the seminar, plus a little more technical detail on a lot of that stuff. But yeah, it should be coming out in March. I'm planning to have a book launch party. I don't know if you guys are able to come to Austin or not, but I would love to have you guys over here, and we can eat some steak, and I can sign some books.
When is that?
Well, so I have to talk with O'Reilly about
okay,
like
you don't know yet.
coordinating.
Got it.
Yeah, but it'll probably be in early March is my guess.
I am so in. All right. Jimmy, are you able to stick with us?
No, I gotta get going, but thanks for having me, and this song is done.
Later, Jimmy. All right, let's do
Get me off the screen.
let's do price. No, you look great.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I gotta switch to using Coin Market Book instead of Coin Market Cap. They seem to have a better grasp on what's going on under the hood, and yeah, it's a little bit better. I gotta try to stick to that. Okay, so you know what? Let me close the stories for the day. They're taking up tabs. I'm sorry for so. Unfortunately, Willy Woo is no longer able to make it. I am looking for a replacement. I'm still reaching out to some people, and it's the first conference. A lot of people aren't really like, and maybe it's a rough time of the year. There's so many conferences around. This is good that we're doing this in a bear market, because hopefully a lot of the other conferences will go away, and this is going to be one of the conferences that sticks around. My workshops, I haven't had time to put on more workshops, but I'm pretty certain there will be one in London alongside Jimmy's, and there might be others in Europe around that time. But right now, all we have left is Phoenix and Las Vegas, and then I will, I'll start setting up my schedule probably around the time of the Las Vegas conference. I'll set up my schedule. I just haven't had time to think about it. All right, let's move on. Let's just go to the price. So the monthly chart, we have a bullish candle, but hey, we still have time in this month, so anything can happen. I do think we're gonna have a bullish candle here on a monthly scale. I do think we can make it all the way back to $5,000 or slightly higher. This is a gigantic resistance cluster. This resistance cluster will last for 3 months. There's like 5 things going on here. You have the downside of the upwards trend line. You have the downside of the downwards trend line. They cross at 52.50. You have the horizontal resistance of the Fibonacci line. You have the 30-month moving average that's still rising. You have the 7-month moving average that is declining. So you have this enormous resistance cluster that I just can't see Bitcoin passing. It can get to as high as maybe 5,500, and that's pretty much as high as I'm giving it. Hopefully that will happen towards the end of January, where we can actually cash out some of the unconfiscatable, because I'm expecting a lot of people to sign up last minute like they always do. So yes, so that's as far as I'm giving Bitcoin on this bounce. Here's the weekly chart. The weekly chart looks great. This is a great week. Today is already Friday. Let's see if we can close above 4,000 and then have another good couple of weeks. I do think the upside is limited. You can see here on the weekly chart, once again, we have a bunch of resistance points. We have the $5,000 round number. We have the declining 30-week moving average. We have the downside of the descending triangle. All of these are major resistance clusters, and I just can't see Bitcoin surpassing all of them. On a daily scale, we are still on a 5 of 9. It is very good when a 5 candle is a neutral candle. It sets up a good possibility that you're actually going to get that 9, because when if the 5 candle was to be a repeat of the 4 candle, creates a big problem getting that 9. And here it is. Here's our 9 on a 12-hour chart, and you can see how relevant the setup trend line resistance is. It's now rejected the price of Bitcoin for 4 candles in a row. So for the last 2 days, the setup trend resistance line, which is at 4,115, has prevented Bitcoin from closing above that line on a 12-hour scale. This is why I'm a believer in technical analysis and why I'm a huge fan of the sequential system, because this is actually working. Now we hit that 9. It's a perfected 9, which is great. I am looking for a 1 to 4 candle correction or stabilization before some continuation, because the daily chart is telling you that we will probably go all the way up to 4,400, because the setup trend resistance line on the daily chart is all the way at 4,300, and we have to close above it. So we can spike all the way to the next point of resistance, which is 4,500. So I can easily see 4,500 over the next 3 to 4 days, after maybe pick it back up again this weekend going into Christmas. We'll see what happens. And yeah, so I am looking for a little bit more upside here. Then the daily is going to take its break, and then we can see if the 4,500 was going to be the high based on a daily chart, or is the weekly chart going to give us something a little bit more and take us all the way up into the 5,000 realm and beyond. I remain short-term bullish. I remain in my short-term long GBTC position, and I will probably be exiting that position somewhere around 5,000 to 5,500, assuming we get there. If I see serious weakness, I will just take the loss and get out. Right now, my position is just under break even, because I started entering that position in the around this price period, but before, like a few weeks earlier. Okay, here is this is the 1 hour chart. Sorry, here's the 4 hour chart. The 4 hour chart broke a bunch of moving averages. It is consolidating because of the 12 hour chart. And I am expecting a breakout on the 4 hour chart once, these moving averages get to catch up a little bit. The 1 hour chart is totally neutral. It doesn't really, it's kind of somewhat irrelevant right now. A bunch of longs have liquidated their leverage longs. That is a good sign for more short-term upside. The leveraged short trades remain elevated, so they are due for a short squeeze. So I don't really, this is looking good. This is in support. The way this thing here is, it's in support of a little more upside, kind of like we saw right here. We bottomed out, we started to go up. The price started to go up back in August, and the longs continued to deleverage, and the shorts stayed up or continued to leverage, and the price kept going higher and higher and higher. The shorts had to cover, the shorts disappeared, and then the price was able to drop. So I am looking for something like that as well, and coming up in the near future. This is GBTC. I think it started trading. The premium is not great right now. I would like to see a pump to the upside. So that's why I'm waiting for that short squeeze to pump the price of Bitcoin to give me a better premium on my GBTC. That's why my position is slightly in the red right now, because the premium isn't where I'd like it to be. Ethereum is pumping more than Bitcoin. So is Bcash and a bunch of other scam coins. And as long as scam coins are pumping harder than Bitcoin, the bottom is not in. That is my view. That is going to be my view for all of 2019. You heard it. You're going to hear it. Everyone is hitting me up for my year-end predictions and 2019 predictions. And that is my view. My view is I need $15,000 Bitcoin, or I need Bitcoin to decouple from the shit coins. If Bitcoin is not decoupling from the shit coins, if Bitcoin isn't rising while garbage is falling, I do not believe that the bear market has ended. I will remain a bear in 2019 until one of those two things happen. We break above 15,000, and in a way that I like it can't be like a Tether implosion. Like, it has to be a state, like it has to be a legitimate break to $15,000 per Bitcoin, maybe 12,000 or something like that. You know, I'll this is why we do daily podcasts. But the Ethereum pump from, what was the low? The low on Ethereum was, where's my high-low close? Do I have my high-low close? Where's my high-low close? Hold on a second. Background, high-low close. So the low for Ethereum was $83.17. Ethereum is now went to $122. So 87 to 122, that is almost $40 on 87. So Ethereum has gone up greater in percentage terms than Bitcoin, and that is no good. That means that the bear market is not here because people still believe in Ethereum. That's not how this current crypto bear market is going to end. That is my outlook. The stock market remains a little depressed. All you have to do now is just wait 3 more days. Next week, we should have a 9. Now, I have a position that I must exit today. And let's see if I'm going to be profitable on that position. Because this is my last choice. Oil is still not doing good. This is SPX. Hey, we're having a bit of a positive day. Sorry, Australia, you're still in a lot of trouble. Gold. I still think this is a dead cat bounce in gold. We're going to do a deep dive with Tyler one of these days. Oh, and there goes Facebook. Man, it was looking good at one point today. Went all the way up to 35. All right, so I might have to exit my position. It is an option spread play, so either way, it's it can't possibly wreck anyone if you know what you're doing. So we'll see. I actually got to check if I exited, because that could have been an exit based on option expiration. So we'll see. Again, I wish I was watching this during the show. It was kind of somewhat critical, but oh well. Trading is trading, especially when you're live streaming. All right. That's it for me, Leah. Please come out and support us at the Unconfiscatable conference in Vegas. And that's it. Leah, any thoughts?
That I've been practicing poker, and you are absolutely going down. And especially when you're here in DC, I'm gonna put a little poker match together just to prove it to you and get you a little worried about Vegas.
Oh yeah, well, we got to chat. I'm gonna swing through DC as I go down to Tennessee to visit Tyler, so we can do some work.
And actually, I don't know why everybody in the live chat still asks about why you think that about alts, but my next Forbes piece is absolutely going to go heavy Bitcoin maximalism like it was last time, but it's gonna smash everything. It's gonna be so much fun. We'll probably get in trouble, but it'll be worth it. All right, well, Tone, thanks for waking me up. This was fun. A lot of fun stories. Happy to have the Bitcoin Morning Brief back, and everybody have a great day.
Yeah, thanks guys. And keep an eye on the Kaiser report. We filmed, and it's going to air soon. Later, guys.